I'm Lazy Man Prepper, and today I'm talking about modifications to my hammock. This video is also a video response to Bristol Prepper. He asked us to show the best modifications we've done to any piece of equipment, and this hammock is probably what I've made the most modifications to out of any piece of equipment I had. So go check out Bristol Prepper on YouTube if you haven't. He's got some really cool stuff, very energetic, gets out there and does stuff, and then he talks in his house also. But go check his page out. Really good job on what he does. So I'm doing one of my favorite things right now. I'm laying in my hammock. Love this thing. Don't know if you've noticed my logo, but it's me hanging in a hammock. I love it. So I was watching videos like I like to do, and Bristol Prepper was doing a review on his hammock, and it had some spreader bars on the netting, and it inspired me to come down here in my basement because it is chilly outside, and I got this hung up in the basement and decided to make some modifications to it. Let's start on the inside, what I've done to this. I'm 6'4", 230 pounds right now, losing some weight, but I have a problem with my hammock in that I slope to the bottom of it when I'm sleeping, and my feet get elevated above my head, which there in turn cools my feet down because we aren't pushing the right amount of blood down there to warm them up. So what I've installed on both ends of my hammock is a pull strap. It's right here. Get out of the way, net. This is a length of 750 paracord with a cobra weave on it. So I can grab the handle, it makes a handle, and it works awesome. So what I do at night, I'm only going to use one hand, but at night if I need to pull up, I reach up and grab it, and then just pull. And now I'm back up where I need to be. So it has a single strand running to the outside, and I'll show you how that attaches out there. But then I got a cobra weave wrapped around it so I'm not just cutting my hands into a single strand of 750 cord. So that hangs right there. Also on the inside, I've installed pink paracord on my inside zipper pulls. So no matter which end I am, I have these zipper pulls, and when it's way up at the other end, and I'll open that up now to show you. So when it's open, there's my feet, and I don't have to slide up and reach these little tabs here at night or during the day or whatever. I can just go to here, grab it, and pull it down. And obviously it's the same with the other side. Another thing I've installed is a ridge line, and I'll show you how that attaches on the outside when we get out there. But basically I have it tied off to the hanging strap outside. It comes down, loops around the outside up there, and then comes back to a pressic knot. This is the tag end right here, and the pressic knot slides on the, there it goes, it slides on it. So like I say, 9 times out of 10, I've hung it right, and it's where it needs to be. But when it's not, I can just slide it either longer or shorter for my ridge line. I'm going to tighten that back up now. And that is something you can do from the inside when you're hanging in it to make that as tight as you want. Another thing I just did today, and I have this on my Cull Craven Peapod designed hammock, but I built a bag out of this netting fabric that I had laying around, and all I did was use duct tape. I just cut a rectangular piece, folded it here, put tape here on the sides and on the top of the opening. And then to install it, I folded the leftover piece over the top and attached it with duct tape on the back. This is a permanent attachment, semi-permanent attachment. I can take it off if I want, but it takes up no space in the bag, folds right up, and I'm able to hang my cell phone, my glasses, whatever I want in there. And what I also did was took some hot glue and ran it, a bead of it, so it's like split into thirds. I think you can see the glue right there. So I have a cell phone pouch right here, and then you know, camera or glasses or whatever over here. And I made the hanging portion of it large enough to where it will go over the prusik knot if it needs to. If I happen to be, there it goes. If I happen to want it all the way down to that end. Or depending on where this is set, I'm able to move the bag where I need it. As you can see from the inside, I have a lot of space up above. The netting is way up off the ridge line. There's about 3 inches right there now. And it's spread out. That's because I installed spreader bars. That's actually not spreader bar right there. That's my drain pipe for my septic. But you can see them at that end. Let me try to zoom in on that. Those are the attachment points, the original attachment points for the netting cord. It's shot cord. And using Bristol Prepper's idea on his hammock, I added it to mine. So this is the part I hate, getting out of my hammock. Not that it's hard or anything, I just like to lay here. So you won't know how long it took me to get out of this hammock and go show you the stuff on the outside, because I'll edit it out, but let's just pretend I got right up and jumped out and showed you. Gotta lay here a little bit. So here's the outside of my hammock as it hangs in my basement. I used the red support beams in order to suspend it. Both ends of the hammock are identical, so I'm only going to show you this end. This cord here is 750 cord that runs through the end of the hammock, the webbing or the tube there of the hammock. It's tied just with a simple knot in order to make that a complete loop. For suspension, I also use 750 cord, but I have one of these 90s adjustable carabiners. So basically I have a loop on the end, I run it around the tree and then back out. I run it through this hole right here, and then it's adjustable. So no matter where the tree is, I can easily adjust it. There's a little cam right there. Let me get my lighting. There's a little cam right here that locks onto that. I love these things. They add no weight, a little bit of size, but they weigh very little. They're made out of aluminum. And there's no guessing, no knotting. If I want to adjust this end, I pull this end. If I want to adjust that end, I pull that end. Works awesome. This cord here is also 750 cord. This is the pull handle that is inside that I showed you earlier. It's a simple loop, runs down inside with the cobra weave woven onto it, and then back out with a knot here at the end. So when you're pulling, it's pulling on the suspension cord. Very strong. This black line is the ridge line. This cord here is tied off at that end. It loops around here underneath the suspension and then back to the prusik knot. I'm probably saying that wrong, but oh well. So that's how my hammock is assembled and how it is hung on a tree. The next thing I'm going to show you is the spacer bar that I just came up with via the Bristol Prepper. So what I have here is the original suspension loops for the netting on both sides. Like I say, that end's identical. The original idea for this hammock was to have shock cord run from your tree through this loop, through that loop, around the tree, and then there's actually two of them. And then another one came through that loop, and back up to the tree. The problem is, sometimes the trees I hang on aren't very big. If I was on a big old oak tree and it was like, really wide, those lines would be spread. If you're on a skinny tree, they're close together and the netting just kind of hangs on itself. You never want to hang your net with 550 cord. You always want to have some shock cord in there. So what I did first off was tie the shock cord to this loop, over to this loop, and back, and then tied it again. That gives me a little triangle. You can figure out the spacing if you're going to do it. What you want to do is have the rod you're going to use to spread it, and then just over and back. And then up here I have a S-beaner tied on to 550 cord. The 550 cord runs up to the tree and is just simply tied off there with the right tension. I have a bunch of it in case I have to go, further. So the S-beaner, I could have just tied the 550 cord to the shock cord. Actually, I could do that. I think I will. I just came up with a different idea. So here we go. I'm going to eliminate this S-beaner. I'm going to untie the shock cord and run it through my loop and then retie it again. The reason you want the S-beaner or a loop is so that you can adjust where how your spreader bar is set. So I put it up and it's all crazy, and then I just slide it through that S-beaner until it's level, and there you have it. What did I use for spreader bars, you're asking yourself? And I'll edit in right here the before and after of these. So these are the sticks that I'm going to use to widen out the netting on my hammock. This one is an unchanged hot dog griller, and this one I've modified. Basically, I cut the ends off of both of them in order to remove this handle and those spikes. How I have them hung is they're basically just sticking in there into the original. This is the webbing that comes on the hammock to run the suspension cords. So basically with that little fork, I stick it in there and I stick it in here, and what the shock cord does is puts a little bit of tension on it so that it doesn't fall out. This thing's not going anywhere. So these can collapse down for easy storage in your bag. I have the suspension rod between the tabs, and I ran the cord through that one, down through that one, and back up. So I have both tag ends right here, and I have the knot, the adjustment knot, already on the cord. So basically you just want to double it, you know, down and back. That's the distance you want. So because when you pull this, it's going to tighten up when it makes the triangle. And all I'm going to do here is just tie these two together with a knot. So let me show you this, that you don't have to use the spreader bar if for some reason you want to take it out. What I would recommend is making the loop like this with the, you know, if you want to use the spreader bar, but you don't have to. And then that's all the shock cord you really need. And then run 550 cord off to your tree as long as you want it. So when this is hanging, you know, they just pull together as opposed to the spreader bar. So what I just noticed as I'm filming here is that there's a droop on this end, and this end is taut. So what I would do, because I kind of like that, this is my head end, is adjust this and then pull this one tight, and you can have the excess at your feet as opposed to, you know, having your head right here and having that droop down on your head. So there you have it, a quick review of the modifications I've made to my hammock. So I hope you enjoyed the modifications I've made to my hammock. It's a Grand Trunk, double wide, Superfly, something or other. But I love it. It's plenty of room for the big guy. And kid prepper likes to get in there too. Plenty of room. So if you like this video, click the like button, post a comment below, head back to the channel, check that out. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that. This is Lazy Man Prepper, out. Boom. How easy was that? Are all about getting back or surviving different situations. There's Cody's, and there's mine. Lazy Man Prepper, out.